All right, welcome back, man. I want to address some of the recent news and the recent criticisms of our boy LeBron James. Now, of course, if y'all don't know, I'm not a big LeBron James fan. I do like him, overall as far as for the game of basketball. Not a huge LeBron James fan though. I definitely against the whole notion that he's the GOAT or anything like that. I'm always debating people on that crap. Of course, Michael Jordan is the best, but that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing. Also, LeBron plays for my favorite team, and it's all for fun. I know people like to be like, all the, basketball fans and fanatics. These corporations and organizations don't give a shit about you. Come on, man. It's all for escapism. It's all for fun. It's for our entertainment to enjoy, man. And so, you need that every now and then. Can't be 100% serious 24/7, man. So that's what it's there for. So I just, I like to root for the Los Angeles Lakers. And so, of course, LeBron James has been with them for the past, 3 or 4 years or whatnot. But he's come under fire lately, man. The news for some of the stuff that he says, as he always says, and I'll be the first to tell you, LeBron says some dumb stuff. He says some dumb stuff. A lot of times he takes the wrong stance on things. A lot of times, like most people do. A lot, especially sports figures and stuff like that, because, like I said, they're influenced by the more liberal type of media, right? And I'm not, not saying, I'm not conservative, liberal. We're all conservative on some things, liberal on others. If you listen to me, you'll understand that shit. I'm a lot more liberal than a lot of these motherfuckers are. I have a liberal stances on way more stuff than these guys usually have. But, they take whatever stance that usually, that whole quote-unquote liberal democratic side, they take that stance on stuff. And so LeBron James, man, he's come under fire, man. First, it was a clip from his show, The Shop, where he was speaking on Brittney Griner and talking about the situation and how, America really hasn't had her back, right? Hasn't had her back or anything. That's what he believes. Hasn't had her back, and, why should she want to return here after, everything that's going on with her being over in Russia? Why would she want to return? So, of course, a lot of guys jumped on that and talked about, LeBron's pushing more anti-America propaganda and stuff like that. Also, I guess within the same show, LeBron recently talked about the Boston fans. The Boston Celtics, who he's played for, who has a strong rivalry against. He claims that the fans are racist. Okay? And they jumping on his ass for that again. Now, y'all gotta calm yourselves, man. Y'all gotta, just being outraged about every single thing this man says. Like, motherfucker can't sneeze without taking criticism. And yeah, some of the stuff he does say he's wrong a lot of times, but man, sometimes, you gotta let the dude breathe, man. Sometimes, just jumping down his throat for I won't say no reason, but you're not even giving the dude a chance or whatnot. Think of it like this. As far as like we'll go through each one. As far as like the Brittney Griner thing, right? I mean, he could have meant anything by that. Wasn't particularly, she broke the law over there in Russia. She's got to deal with the consequences. Tell people all the time that, these other countries, it's not like here in America. Even though, you got folks in America, you got people jailed for marijuana and stuff like that. It's funny how America, all of a sudden, they want to see her get out. But why don't you think about releasing the people who are locked up right now for those same charges? But that's a whole nother thing. But he could have been saying, she don't want to come back here and go to a whole nother country. I mean, and she has every right to do that. I mean, LeBron, he's just having barbershop talk, man. And that's what the whole premise and the whole concept of that show is. And so it may not be 100% correct, but I mean, that's what y'all got from it is LeBron hates America and she wants to stay over in Russia. And come on, I mean, it was just a theory. He's just speaking, and he even came back and walked back some of the comments, right? But they don't give the dude a chance to breathe, man. It's kind of like when the girl got shot by the police, the little 16-year-old girl got shot by the police that was brandishing the knife. And, this came around the same time that, what's the guy who killed George Floyd? What's his name? I forget the guy's name, man. So much be going on. But he got charged. And it was around that same time, I believe earlier in that week. And so with that, a lot of people believe that the officer was wrong for shooting that girl. And LeBron puts out a tweet saying, following the arrest and sentencing of the guy who killed George Floyd. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. Sometimes I do that. But LeBron basically says, you're next. Right? And so you got all these guys on the internet, and they going around talking about, LeBron is sitting up there, he's advocating for violence against the officers because the officer was just doing his job. Now, LeBron was wrong. LeBron was 100% wrong, but they took it to LeBron's advocating for violence and, stuff like that. And I think LeBron eventually took down the tweet. And he retracted it and said, he put out some statement or whatnot, but basically saying, I think he was kind of alluding to, he shouldn't have put that up. But anyway, as far as the tweet and what he said, it was like, man, they took that way out of pocket, man. All he was saying was, basically saying, hey, you're the next to get charged. You're the next to get put through the, and I'm not saying that's, that's good, you calling for the person to be arrested or anything like that, but saying that you want the mob to come and he's calling for violence against them and stuff like that, that's not what LeBron James was doing, man. There's even a way that you could look at it as the way that he took his tweet when he was talking about Daryl Morey over there in China. Now, we do know that the NBA is hypocritical in their dealings with China, especially around the same time they're talking about they were advocating for freedom and stuff like that, but they're still dealing with authoritarian regime over there in China and doing business with them, especially how they treat their people, man. And basically Daryl Morey was calling out the NBA about this. But I think what a lot of people were missing was, LeBron James, and he explained this. It could have put them in a bad situation, right? Now, like I said, all of the social justice and stuff that these dudes be doing, man, it's all, they do the safe stuff. They not real social justice warriors. They not really taking any real risk. They taking the most convenient stances, right? But at the same time, you did put them, Daryl Morey's putting them in danger. And I think LeBron explained this. You're putting them in danger while you're explaining this while they're over there in China. Okay? So anything could happen. Anything could happen while they're walking the streets. They still had to go over there and play. I think it was preseason games, or it might have been the USA. I forgot what it was around that time. But you're putting him in danger. So he wasn't saying necessarily that he doesn't not agree with what you're saying. It's just, hey, you keep in mind that, you're putting us, you're putting our lives at stake, right? And so, but that shows you right there. I mean, it's still something to take into account. And we all speak like, woulda, shoulda, coulda, and, a lot of people were saying like they'll stand on something, they probably would fold too. It'd probably be like, shh, be quiet. Be quiet. So that's all LeBron was saying right there. You putting him and his teammates in danger right there. So there's other ways to look at some of these different things. Bringing it back to the whole thing and why everybody's getting on his ass about the Boston comments, I mean, is he wrong about that? Is there anything wrong? What is the problem with that? People have been saying this shit for years, and we know how a lot of these white fans act in these arenas. They'll love all of these motherfuckers. They'll love, especially, if he's scoring, 30 points a night and bringing your team a championship, and these motherfuckers is all engaged with it or whatnot, and then let him leave your city, and then he comes back with his new team and he's scorching your team or whatnot. And you got fans that get belligerent, start calling all type of names and, targeting a person's family, shit like that happens. And you got fans, they just, like I said, they get way too carried away and they take the shit a whole nother place. I mean, they calling people niggers and stuff like that. They do that all the time. This is something that's been talked about for years. LeBron James is not the first person to bring this up. Keep this in mind, this is Barbershop Talk, man. So they just talking about the game. Now, are they, in what context was it being brought up within the conversation? I don't know. Was it, to push the whole, race thing and whatnot? We do know they overpush that shit in media. Yeah, racism still exists. The media exploits that shit, right? And a lot of people, their conception of what's racist and stuff like that, their perception, did I say conception? Their perception is all over the place with it. But with the statement itself and the part that people are pinpointing, where is he wrong about saying that? People have been saying the same thing about Utah. Usually I hear the Utah Jazz of this. I've heard about Boston too. In multiple ways. I've heard of just people talking about the city of Boston in general. There's a lot of white folks there. And we know white folks say crazy shit, especially when they get drunk, man. Right? So what's wrong with him talking about that, man? You're not talking about somebody who's, because of this, hasn't went out there and performed and said, hey, I'm not going to go play because it's Boston, because the fans are mean. Because last time I checked, throughout his whole career, the dude has performed in Boston. He's had some of his greatest games in Boston. He's dominated them in the playoffs. He's always showed up when it's come to Boston. So, like I said, he can't have a conversation, man. Can't have an open conversation on his show. If y'all don't like the dude, why do y'all keep giving him so much I don't want to say that, because sometimes you got dumb motherfuckers, man. You want to put your foot on their neck, man, and, highlight everything that they do, man. It's put the spotlight on their bullshit so the whole world can see how, pieces of shit they are. But come on, man. Y'all got to do it in the right context. Sometimes, yeah, I don't like LeBron James. I think he's a flopper. I think he's, I think he can be phony at times, right? But I'm not going to pile on when something that's not there. He has every right to say this. I don't see an issue with anything he said. And so, just don't lose sight of that, man. Don't get too caught up into the whole culture war. I know that's what a lot of this stuff, man. You got the whole culture war that's going on. So we get too caught up in that stuff that, you hear anything, you get so tired of one side and their certain propaganda that it pushes you all the way to the extreme on the other. You got to be able to, balance yourself, man, and catch yourself at times. So, that's just understandable. That's just, just how humans are. Just how humans are. But no, I don't have a problem with anything LeBron James said. If Boston doesn't like that characterization, man, then shit, hold your people accountable. If not, Keep doing what the fuck you want to do. Nobody told you. He didn't say he wanted to see y'all go to jail or anything like that. He just said what he thinks about y'all and playing for y'all. The motherfucker still shows up and he still gives y'all buckets when he plays y'all. Yeah, one of his greatest playoff performances against y'all. He's been playing against Boston for over 20 years now. I don't think it's that big of a problem, right? But these guys have every right to, call out fans when fans are being, fucked up or messing with people's families, like they were doing with, Westbrook and stuff like that. Yeah. But you do have to have a level of tough skin out here. You got to be able to take some of that shit, and go out there and still perform your job. But, you still got to not necessarily take it, but, got to do what you got to do. Yeah, but go ahead, call out the bullshit, man. If you got a problem with it, man, let them know what it is. Man, you're not going to stand for that, especially somebody messing with your family. That's definitely out of line. But, yeah, man, all of these guys, a lot of the conservative media, man, chill out on the shit, man. You take shit too far sometimes, and it is what it is. Like I said, all of this stuff that's coming from the left-wing side and stuff like that, it tends to push people to the extreme, all the way to the other side. And so, you just got to, like I said, balance yourself. But I've spoken on this long enough. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe. And I will holler at y'all later.